2 and 1. Did it start? It must start then when it tells me 3, 2, 1.
I'm thinking it did. So let me just check here.
So are we here?
I believe we are. I think we're good, Delinda, finally.
Yay, good morning. Oh,
Good
you guys, you know what? I love technology because I love being able to do this. But on the other hand, when it doesn't work just perfectly, then it makes me not so happy. But we're on now, so that's
it. We are together.
So good morning.
Well, good morning. It has been a month, I think, and since we've been together.
I think it has been. It's like, oh my gosh, I feel like it feels longer than that actually. But it's so nice to be back with you and back with our viewers who's going to be joining us this morning. I did put a good morning note in the chat box. That's always my way to figure out if we are going to see that. So let's see if somebody can send me a quick hello. Let's see here. Can't comment. Stream 2 pages. All right, so we should be able to. That I'm on the Delinda Lane speaker. That's the only way to let me post. So if you're out there, do a quick hello, and you might have to just give.
I see Kathy Weaver.
Kathy! Kathy and I got to actually have a person-to-person phone call yesterday. It was so nice just to chat and catch up a little bit. So good morning, Kathy. So Jennifer.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand that there's something happening there, and it's not my white sand beach of Florida.
No, and I actually debated on doing this live outside because I think everyone should appreciate how beautiful it is. It is April 20th, and we are getting about 3 inches of snow today in Kansas City. That is quite unusual for those of you in Las Vegas. It does not normally snow this late out this direction. So definitely a little bit of an unexpected surprise this morning.
Yeah. Justin sent me a picture, and I'm hoping it wasn't from his car. I'm hoping he took it off of a TV or something. But it was taken from a car driving with the snow coming down.
Yeah. And it really was. I actually, on my Facebook page, my personal one, I took a video. I got up this morning to get ready, and I looked out my window, and it was the most beautiful, peaceful snowfall. And it was the big flakes. The birds were chirping in the trees, and I just grabbed my phone and took a video and had to share it because it really is pretty. And I think, and I was sharing with Delinda here right before we came on, as much as we're frustrated because everybody, oh gosh, and it's not on the streets, it's not on our sidewalks, it's melting pretty quickly. But I just want everybody to remember to always look for the beauty, because this could have been someone's prayer. Someone could be terminally ill and they wished and prayed for one more snow, or a mom hoping that their child could see one more snow. And so it may inconvenience us, but I want everybody to think about that this could be an answer to a prayer. And I think if we look at the beauty of it, it just allows us to get through the moment. So.
Wow, I love that, Jennifer. That actually just touches my heart when you told me that earlier. And again, and I think sometimes we do get so, wrapped up in our own little bubble that we forget about that all the things that are happening to other people.
Right.
And it's I just think that's a good way to look at it. And if we actually look at not everything, okay, I'm not going to go so far as that, because but if we look at a little bit back to what I talked about last week about interruptions in your life, you may have a whole day of running errands and stuff that you really needed to get done, but because of the snow or whatever, although I know in Kansas City y'all get out and do it anyway.
Yeah.
But it could be that it just is a good interruption. And maybe you yourself have been running around too much or had so much on your plate that the snow day gives you a chance to breathe and kind of just enjoy it. I do love looking at the snow. I don't really like being out in it so much, but I can deal with it.
This one you would like, because it is truly beautiful. And I actually took a photo and was laughing. I ended up, my short drive from my home to my office, I created a snowball that rolled down the back of my car. And so when I got to the office, I had a perfectly formed, from down the hill of my back window, a snowball.
You're kidding.
About this big. And again, just a moment, it just caused me to pause. I'm getting ready to run into the office, start my day, do my stuff, but I took a picture of it. It's just a moment. Just
Oh my
embrace the
gosh.
moments. So
That really is. I don't know that I've ever seen that. I mean, usually the snow just, flies off, right? But the fact that it would roll down, it's like,
yeah, it's like I said, it is a pretty snow. And the other thing I had to laugh at this morning, one of the newsmen said, yes, it is snowing. And I have an answer to the question you're all asking yourselves: how soon will it melt? Because we don't care how much we're getting at this point. When will it be gone? I want my green grass back. I want to see my flowers. We're to that point in the season where we're done. We're done with the winter. Let us come back to spring.
And y'all, so you do have flowers blooming and stuff. So spring has started. Okay.
Yes.
So hopefully it will be short-lived and not too cold for that.
Yes.
So
good. And it is a nice amount of moisture. It's springtime. We do expect moisture to come down. So it will melt nicely.
I remember when I was living in Kansas City, we had snow on Mother's Day. There was one year we had snow. Now that's always around the 10th or 12th of May. It's like, oh my gosh. So, this really isn't that late.
Yeah, it's not. It's just not normal. I mean, those are a little unusual. So, but I'm gonna segue us in. Timing. You never know. You never know what the reasoning is, but it's always a timing thing.
Yeah, and that's a perfect segue. Yeah, and I think we say timing is everything, and so what do you guys think? Do y'all believe in that? And I see I misspelled joining over in my little chat box. Sorry about that. I don't do two or three things well at the same time. But I think it is important. I was sitting with some gals at a luncheon yesterday. I was at Missy Day's like-minded lunch, and the three other gals that I was talking with, and Deborah, who's one of my Vegas gals here, who's been part of our group, and she said to me, she says, "Oh, are you gonna something about Kathy, because they're in a couple of things now?" And I said, you know what? This is the coolest thing, because if you recall, Jennifer, because you and I we worked at that, we really tried over before COVID, the last year or so before that, trying to connect our groups to the people that we have, because there's such amazing women in both areas. We tried to get people to we've been doing the Zoom thing for several years before COVID hit, but we were trying to get gals from both groups to kind of join in on the Zooms, and it just never really happened. And as weird as the pandemic's been and all of that, I said, well, you know what? This has been a great thing, because it now forced us to be on Zoom like all the time. And so our group has connected in a lot of ways. I mean, I see a lot of back and forth going on between Kansas City and Las Vegas, and and some of the other areas too. Those just are where we used to hold lunches live, were the most active groups. And so those of you who aren't in either of those areas, hey, let me know. I'll come to your area and we'll do a lunch.
and jump in on anything we're doing, Zoom, Facebook, anything. Please continue to be a part of it. We want everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it was really cool. So that really got my mind thinking. And you and I had talked over the last several weeks about that. So what do you think about that, Jennifer? The whole timing thing, does it really make a difference, do you think?
I think it does. I look at my life as a journey. And, if you think of timing as just a stop along the way, there's things you're supposed to cross and things that are supposed to occur. And, I think the timing of COVID, I think it caused everyone in the entire world, whether you like it or not, you had to slow down. Some things stopped in their tracks. I mean, overnight with no warning. And it's amazing to me that happens. And, we just look at it that way. But I think that if we look back, because, it's been a year since you and I started doing this on a very, you've been doing it for a number of years, doing your Tuesday morning. I joined in about the time we were shutting everything down. And I think we've learned a lot. I think there's just been a lot of things that are blessings that I look back on. There's a lot of frustrations. There's a lot of anger. There's some things I wish hadn't happened that I didn't have control over, but yet there's blessings in this.
And I would definitely put the connecting with people better. And I know,
Mhm.
judging from those of you that I see on here, so I'll stop here and do a quick hello. Angie, good morning, and Melissa.
Mhm.
Melissa, where are you? I'm not sure what city or town you're in. So if you could let me know that. And Sherry, good morning.
Yeah.
Um, and so Angie, you put it's even 420, so it's April 20th. So what does that mean? Is there an actual, was this a specific date for something?
That
So
I
you,
don't know.
yeah, and I don't know either. So you must think there must be. So would you tell me what that is so I understand your comment? Um, I look at March 20th was the day Bill and I were home. We drove in from Kansas City, not to leave again for the year.
Pretty much.
Although we did by summertime, we did. But yeah, so and I've heard a lot on the news. So I think maybe, and there must have been something significant that there was some edict that was put out on April 20th, maybe about the COVID thing. So again, I think the connecting, and several of you on the show here have really turned that around to work for you. You know, and I know, Jennifer, you guys kind of changed how you were doing business.
Mhm.
Instead of, and it's been on one side, it's kept us from running all over town, because you can sit at your desk and you could do a luncheon or a morning meeting and go have a cup of coffee or fix your breakfast, come back, do another meeting, and never leave the house. And yet you can be holding, in some ways, for me, I think I was more productive
Mhm.
because I wasn't in the car driving and getting to the places and then that kind of thing. So
Right. And it did. And it made us, I think it just made everybody take a step back, adapt, figure out what worked for you. You know, and again, you talk about when we tried to do the tea on Thursday, whatever that was. I remember we tried to do a Zoom call, and, you know, we would get messages. What is Zoom? How do I do that? If I said, I'm going to Zoom with you, great. I have it on my phone. I have it on my computer. Let me grab my tablet. That is just, it's like using the word, I'm going to Google that. It really is a very deliberate action.
yeah, and I would venture to say there aren't too many people that don't know now.
Mhm.
You know,
Exactly.
everybody, I think there's a lot of people still getting used to it, maybe, but it's, you know, like I say, it's been a year. So we've expanded our horizons, right?
Mhm.
And I think just sometimes we don't. And I think a lot of, like, you know, going back at the timing, and again, everything's in God's timing. Y'all, it's not our timing. In case you don't know it yet, we have no control. Okay. All we can do is control our thoughts and the actions based on what's happening around us, right? And in this particular case, we couldn't step away from it. Sometimes you're in situations where you can step away, but
Mhm.
COVID hit everybody across the world. The pandemic, you know, was, which is weird because I think this is the only time in my life, because I haven't been in a war, you know, so
Mhm.
that was before my time. But this is something that affected everybody across the globe, and we've all had to make those different shifts. And okay, so it's here. So what are we going to do about it? And
Right.
what is the timing for you? I love the fact that I just know families, even though part the other side of this, they may be like ready to kill each other, not literally, but they've had more time to have
Mhm.
meals together and to get to know each other better. And I think that's good. And I think certainly, you know, we have a God who redeems every situation. I'm not saying God sent the pandemic. Trust me, that's not what I'm saying. But he can redeem anything. So he takes this. And so how can we look at that in this, you know, use it in God's timing to how can we be better? You know,
Mhm.
what have we learned? How are we doing things differently?
Exactly. And I think, like you said, the families, they were forced together. It was a matter of, okay, let's figure this out. How do we entertain the children and whatever, everybody's situation being different. But I think it's also made us very deliberate in our choices.
Yeah.
You know, the children are home. What are we watching as a family? What are we doing? Now, those of us that grew up that way, I think a lot of us stepped away from it when we had our own families, which is strange because I remember watching the Walt Disney show on Sunday evenings and the Carol Burnett show with my family. We did that together. It's nice to see families that are continuing to do that, even though now the world is opening up and the kids are in the ball practices and such. But I think there's a step back of everybody enjoyed parts of that, and they're going to hopefully continue with that. And that's a good thing. That is not a negative in my mindset. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and again, I think it has made us evaluate our choices, Okay, so what things of that are the new habits that you've made that you want to keep? I know for me, I am not going to be out running around every day. And I didn't always do that, but I certainly was out more than I haven't. So this week for me kind of marked back getting into a little bit more of meeting face to face. So I went to this like-minded lunch yesterday. So and again, I think it is all timing. That it feels to me, for me right now, the right time to step back into some of those things that I did. Keeping the things I like. So in our group, just since we're talking about that, this Thursday, if you're in the Fun Fearless Female group, we are continuing. It'll be our 4th Thursday. So I really should come up with some clever. Come on, Jennifer, I'm gonna put this in your plate.
I'll work on it.
The fourth Thursday lunch is not that exciting of a name, but it is a great way to continue blending the two things. So it is on the 4th Thursday. So that's what I don't want people to forget, that because if you keep consistent, and that's one thing that I've learned over not just this year, but last couple of years, is that it's easier to remember. If it's every 4th Thursday, then you kind of can just set your calendar and know it's going to be there, right?
Yeah.
And then there's other things that are fine to just pop up and do when you want to do them. But we are going to start our live face-to-face luncheons here in Vegas in May, and I'm working on that now. So I'll have that. So it's kind of looking at where you are and what things did you change that you like the 4th Thursday lunch is one of those. And again, it needs a better name. So
we'll
help
work
me
on
out
that.
there, creative, you guys. And then which things do you not so much, because there's probably things that, I don't like how this happened, or I don't like what we've been doing here, but, so they could change, right?
Exactly. And again, I think it makes us very deliberate. And I love the fact we have events starting up. I've seen more people talk about there's been vendor events. I have one this weekend I'm attending. I have one next weekend I'm attending. So I encourage everyone, go out there on Eventbrite, Meetup, those places, start looking. There are churches, there are different community events and organizations. They're trying. Things have opened up. They're able to get the permits they need to have stuff in the park or whatever. Be looking for that. And even if you're not a vendor, go there and support them. Because for me, that's one of my lessons I learned, is when it hit me that there would be small businesses that may not survive this pandemic, that they were going to possibly have to close. I'm very deliberate of every penny I spent. I want to know that where my money is going, when I go out to buy a taco, or I go to buy a cup of coffee in the morning or something. And it doesn't mean you can't do chains, because I'll run through a McDonald's drive-through. I don't mind that, because they're employing local people. There are people that have jobs because that's there. So that's not a negative, but I've made a list. I have a mental list of places. And I think that is something I'm going to continue probably for the rest of my life. I'm very deliberate. Last night we had an opportunity to go out to dinner, and my husband and we made a list. It was 3 places. It's like, which of these 3 do we want to go to? It wasn't just wherever. It was very deliberate in our thought process. So
that is awesome. That's awesome. And I know over this year that you've talked about that a good bit, is really supporting those businesses, because we have lost a number of businesses, and it's sad to me. And I hope that they will be able to regroup in some way and make it back.
Yeah, and they actually said, though, what's interesting is the applications, and I don't have the actual stat, and I'm going to look it up because I'm going to post on Fun Fearless, but the actual applications within small business administration loans and such are up. Because as people got kicked out of what they were doing, they realized, maybe I don't want to jump back into that pond, or I've reinvented my wheel and I know a better way. and they're going to do something slightly different or whatever. That actually is exciting for me because that means we have growth coming, and I'm seeing that on that horizon. I know my phone calls in for commercial insurance are crazy. People asking questions, what do I need to do? And they're people that I've never talked to before. So that is a good thing. Again, when one door closes, there is one that opens. Sometimes you just have to look for it. And I think people are doing that.
Yes, yes. And again, that is the perfect timing. What right now, where you are, each one of you, what is this time is your perfect time for something.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? So maybe it is starting a new business. You're coming up with a new idea. Maybe it's changing how you've always done something. Just because you've always done it that way doesn't mean that it needs to keep being done that way. If anything, right, that was a lesson of the pandemic, right? An interesting thing at the lunch yesterday, I can't remember his whole name, Antonio, who is a chef and restaurant owner here in Las Vegas. And he's been at some pretty impressive restaurants through the years. And he was telling his story yesterday, and one part of it that I found so interesting. And he said, it used to be, he says, he's been in Vegas for most of his life. He's gone in and out a few times, but he said it was that everything was geared to the strip. Okay. So if you wanted to be a successful chef or whatever, you had to be in a restaurant that was on the strip. And he said there were numerous times when he wanted to have his own restaurant, but it was like this big club, you don't leave the strip. If you're going to have a restaurant, you stay on the strip. Well, the pandemic changed all of that. And he said there's now, he said, four or five of some of the best chefs in town have now decided to open, and they are opening their own restaurants on the edges of town. So those of us I think I told you one time, Jennifer, because you were talking about all these self-owned individual restaurants that you have there. And I said to you, I said, well, I don't even know if I have any around here. It's all the Olive Gardens and all of the, those. And he actually mentioned that. He says, once you left the strip, all you had was the
chains,
those kind, PF chains, all of those. And he said, again, those are great restaurants, but we as chefs and restaurant owners wanted to make a difference outside the strip. So anyway, I thought that was really cool. So
well, and I do, and I love it. But again, had the pandemic not happened, he wouldn't. I mean, because again, the ones on the strip, not that, and I'm assuming making assumptions here, the locals will go there if you want to whatever, you'll go there. But those are catered to the me who fly in and such. I mean, that's where their bread and butter is. We didn't come. What do you do? How do you reinvent? Or if the building itself is closed, you can't be open. I mean, that's that situation. And I think that's one of those things people have figured out. How do I control this if this was to happen again? What level of control do I have on my storefront, on my family, and that's not a self-centeredness. It's just a matter of survival, of coming up, having that backup plan, that emergency plan that we all should have had. We should have had this figured out. But again, and to me, I go back to 9/11, when that tragedy occurred, no one ever thought every single plane in the United States would have to land within a 30-minute period. And where would they all go? That has never been a thought process of they're over Idaho. What airstrip can they land on? We have a 747 that's got to get down. Where do they go? You think about that. Now they have a plan. They know everything. But in the moment, they reacted, got everybody safe. But it's amazing to me. This is the same thing. The pandemic, I never could have imagined that in snap of a finger, you wake up the next morning and everything is now closed across the world.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to step away one quick. Keep chatting there.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I encourage everyone to do is continue to come up with your backup plans, continue to work your plans and evolve. Nothing has to stay the same, and continue to support those small businesses that have made it through. Again, I preach this for a year now. Spend your money wisely, but also give reviews. If you're not up to spending money, but you had an amazing dinner, go on their Google My Business page, give them their 5 stars, shout out on their Facebook page, call them out on your Facebook page. I had an amazing dinner at blank. You need to go. because that edification that you're giving to them is what's going to keep them in business. Because now I do go onto my phone even more than I did before I go into a place. I want to know what other people think of that restaurant, that store,
Oh,
that whatever. And that is a trend we are seeing a lot of. And don't just think, because again, I'm going to use my own business. If you have an amazing insurance agent, if you have an amazing doctor, dentist, whatever, call them out also. Help them get that foot traffic in the door, because we're not meeting yet in that big groups where someone overhears, I need a dentist, I need a whatever, but they're looking online for that. So please continue to give those reviews. I have, again, still my personal challenge of 5 a week. And
oh wow.
I try to do 5 reviews a week of giving somebody some 5 stars. So
I love that. I love that. Okay. So Jennifer, that's a great idea that we need to do over in the Fun Fearless group
okay.
is, to do that shout out like that. I
Uh-huh.
love that. Because I personally don't want to go. I am not, as a matter of fact, I am not going to go to a dentist or a hair salon or anything that has not been recommended to me.
Yeah.
I go totally about everything I do, except maybe Albertsons or something, where somebody else has actually already been there and, recommends it. And so I love that. That 5 of them a week. That's great.
Yeah. And really, if you think about it, it's not hard. It really isn't. I mean, even though the restaurant we chose to go to last night, we've been there multiple times. It's one of our favorites. I looked, I had never reviewed it. It just hadn't been in my thought process. So it's the one I grabbed this morning, and, I give them their 5 stars. I call out how great the food was. And those things help those businesses. And again, the restaurants, the stores, but again, also your services, your insurance, your doctor, your dentist, those things, your beautician. That's how they're going to find the new clients. Because again, networking is it has evolved. I mean, the big groups and the after hours things are slowly opening up, but again, we're getting new faces in there. There's people that I'm seeing that I haven't seen before, which is great. I love it. I love new
Right. And that's, of course, that's a big part of the whole networking thing is meeting new people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there will be people that will use this to, again, do things differently. Maybe they never did. I don't typically do evening things.
Mm-hmm.
I might decide to do 1 or 2. But I'm also looking at, like, what are the things that are most important to me now in how I look at my life, but how I look at the world, and how can I make a difference? So maybe the groups, some of the things that I was doing before might not be as important to me now, but there may be a couple of new ones that, matter of fact, I'm going to a luncheon tomorrow. I don't know. I might as well tell y'all. Y'all know, what I am anyway. But I've never been, and I've heard about it for the last couple of years. The Republican women are having a luncheon tomorrow, and I thought, I do want to be involved. I want to begin to make a difference just locally in some way. So decided, okay, that's going on my list. So what time is it for you? For all of you that are out there, is this a time for you now to, as things are opening up, what are you going to keep? What are you going to give up or change or shift? And just look at this. I love the story of Esther, and you've heard this before, and I often think of it, for such a time as this. Esther was brought in. God used her for such a time as this. In that time, she saved the Jewish people. We may not be able to save the world or save our, our nation or our community, but we can make a difference. So what does God have for you right now? Because of where we are, this is where we are. Things are opening. So look at that,
Exactly. And embrace that. Like I said, I was so excited to be invited to this one group. It's at a church here in Kansas City, Kansas. And what it started as a very small group, they wanted to help the business owners in their congregation get the word out about their businesses to allow them to grow. So it's how it started. And it was going to be just a little thing in their church basement. And it continued to grow and continue to grow. We got the email that we are officially going to be outside in their parking lot. We are so large of an event. And I am so excited about this. They actually have KU coming in. They have people that are going to help people write resumes. This has turned into an amazing event. And, but again, I happened to see it. I was looking for something. I want to start being able to go out in the community again. And it's like, okay, what am I doing? So start looking for those and figuring out how it is you become a part of that. And again, even if you can't be a vendor, go and support them by attending, because even if you don't spend a dime, just having that body count there is important.
Absolutely. So I love that. What a couple of good challenges this morning. I love it. See, this is what I love. Jennifer, we're back.
We're back.
Forth, and and don't y'all find that it is just so important? I want to really encourage you to connect at whatever level you can. As things are opening up, and maybe you'll decide to go to 2 networking or 2 somethings a month. Maybe you're just going to start with 1 a month or 2 a month or 1 a week. I'm looking at, for me, like 1 out. I don't even know how many there are. I'm beginning, like Jennifer, I'm looking for some. This week I'll actually be at 3 new things, but those aren't all the time. So, one a week is good for me, 1 a week or 2 maybe, and then continuing my Zoom stuff. So it's like, look at this. This is perfect timing. You guys, this is perfect timing for something for you. So change how you think about that. Just like the snow, when Jennifer was talking about, today might be the miracle that somebody was praying for their child or their home or whatever it is, your snow, your beautiful snow. So it's like, embrace what it is. It is what it is. I
can't change it.
But really see and really seek, ask the Lord about that, just pray about that and say, okay, so Lord, if this is perfect timing for me, what is it that you want? And he'll answer you. He'll open some windows. He'll bring something into your consciousness. Somebody will make a phone call, whatever it is, to make that change for you. So it will be your perfect timing.
Exactly. And the one thing I say is, when you ask, then be quiet and observe, because we all get to thinking it needs to come immediately. And I've asked, and where is it? Where's my answer? And sometimes you just need to stop and listen. And I'm bad at that. I am horrible, but I think we all need to do that and remind ourselves of, now be open to seeing what that opportunity is in front of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great advice. Well, Jennifer, thanks for being back. We're back on now. Like I said, I don't think I'm going anywhere until maybe August or September. So, be posting right here from the house or whatever. And that way we can always make that connection. Everybody, thank you for being here. It's so great. And I love you. I love the fact that you guys keep coming on Tuesday mornings and sharing this with us. So feel free to send a message right on the board here, or send a private message if you have any questions, either for Jennifer or myself. We would just love to be here as a support for you. And if you're in Fun Fearless, remember that on Fridays, you get to post about your business. We cannot help you or support you if we don't know you or know what you do. So
yes. And if you are on Fun Fearless, last Monday, I asked a question, and it was literally what phrase would young people today not understand if you said it? The comments and the conversation that went with that post, you'd still go back and look at it, because there were memories that came flooding back for me. And then this week I was just discussing TV shows and such, but go back and look at some of those, because there are some really neat memories and conversations going on. So please jump on those threads and interact with us, because I'd love to hear everyone's answers on that.
Absolutely. Yes. And if you're not in Fun Fearless and you are a female, because this is a female group, Tuesday mornings are for everybody, males and females. But if you're a female and you're not in the Fun Fearless group yet, go in and join. And it's called Fun Fearless Female. My brain just went blank. Community. What is it?
Community
of Christian women. And if I could get over. Okay, before we hang up, I'm going to run over. I'm going to do a little quick over and get the link.
And I see that Linda has been able to join us. So good morning, Linda. I'm so excited to get to see you at some point, because I cannot believe it's been a year since we have seen each other face to face. So And anybody, again, out there, that's the other thing is if there's even not a networking group, reach out to someone you have not seen in that year and maybe do that Zoom call or do a face-to-face. And if you're still needing to be distanced for whatever your reasons are, you can easily sit 6 feet across on a table and have a cup of coffee. So
Absolutely.
I just encourage that because one-on-one is very easy to control your distances and your sneezes and your masks and all of this stuff that we still have to do. So.
Oh, there was something. Okay, so I guess on Thursday. Okay, can y'all hang one? I just got to show you something. Okay, so just
yes.
Although I think it's too far. Okay, I'll do it next Tuesday, but I'll do it on Thursday. So I figured out a new way to make the mask fun.
Oh, okay. She's leaving us with a cliffhanger,
I
people.
always wear a sparkle mask. And I think Kathy and I were on a call at some point, and it's like, okay, so what are we going to do? So yesterday I did it, and I got so many comments. I'm not sure if they were compliments, but they were comments.
But they remember you.
I took my sparkle mask, and then I moved it up so I had my sparkle headband on. You can still see the straps here, but it was interesting. And I thought, well, everybody pulls them down, right? So I thought, well, I'm going to pull mine up and at least, make it a fashion statement.
I love it. I love it.
Oh gosh. Well, you guys are great. Thanks. Yes, a headband mask. That's exactly right, Kathy. All right, you guys, remember that life is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. Choose to make a difference as you go out in your life, but choose your timing. Choose the thing that you are going to keep, the thing that you're going to move towards in these next weeks and months to make sure that you're using your perfect timing right now. All right. Bye now. And I will see you soon next Tuesday.
Goodbye.
Bye.